Screen. Okay. Can you see it? See my workplace?
Yes,
And you can hear me. Okay.
yes.
Here I have, wait for it. I have to put it in the right place. Oh, okay. These are the little petals for the English ivy. They're more reasonable size. Certainly in the 1 inch, they'll be bigger, and a 1/4 inch a little smaller, but they're a lot easier to work with than some of the others have been. Well, no, the hydrangea is not that bad, but certainly easier than the boxwood. And all I'm going to do is take these petals and I'm going to, circle, or I'm going to use a bigger ball. I'm going to circle in you just kind of circle like this, and it curls it. Can you see that, how it curls it? I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to just circle it a little bit gently so it kind of curls around the ball of this tool, stylus. Circle it. This is how so many flowers and plants are done, is by running a circle in the middle, and it curls around it. So you want your leaves curled. And then you're going to take your stem, the 2 glues, tweezers again, all the tweezers. I don't know how anybody can do this with their fingers. You have to learn to use tweezers. Jean, you're going to have to learn to use tweezers for this. Okay, now this is curled up towards me. And for the very first one, and I'm going to put glue on this side. This is the right side with the curling up. And we're putting glue on the right side of the stem, yeah. And then I'm going to put it right against the stem at the top with the stem to stem, with the leaf part over the top. Oops, it's sticking. Come on. There. I'm going to let it dry for just a minute here, because what we're going to do now is bend that leaf over the tip of the stem, kind of like we did with the boxwood, but you'll be able to see it better here. You see it's glued on to the back of the stem, and the curl is facing towards me, up. Curl is up. As soon as it's dry enough that it can stay there, I'm going to push it over a little bit. So now when you look at it, you won't see the top of the stem. It'll look like it's growing out of the top. And yes, you'll see a little bit of glue, but again, it will dry. And if it leaves it, if you can see it when it dries, you just paint it with a little dab of paint. Okay, so that's going over. The next stem, and you're holding this with your tweezers on the very tip of the tallest point. Now this one, you're going to kind of bend this stem back a little like we did on the hydrangeas. And this time you're again going to put your glue on the front. And you're going to glue that stem to the stem of the other leaf. Well, actually just below the stem of the other leaf. So you've got two leaves near the top. They're not exactly straight across. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Come on, leaf. Stop playing around. Left it again. And this is, imagine if I didn't have decent tweezers. If I drop it this much when I do have decent tweezers. Here again, maybe those tweezers that clamp and are good to hold. All right, I got it. Now it's a little below. Do you see how that's a little below the top one? Now we are going to alternate the leaves on each side. First one, and then a little lower the next, and then a little lower the next. So that they're not, these are not going to be straight opposite like the last plants we've done. Is this right? Maybe, yeah. Yes. Okay, so now I want the curl to go down, not up. I did that wrong. So go to the back side and bend that stem towards the back side. Get some glue on it. And put it on the next, a little lower down. The minute I go to clamp it, it comes loose. So who just joined us? Anybody, or did they leave, or what?
It's me coming back.
Oh,
Connor was working on lights and cut the power off.
oh, okay. Well, you tell him, stop that. You shouldn't be doing that when you're on a Zoom. Next one, you know what's happened? Here's what's happened. I have already a skin on my glue. So I have to take some of that skin off. See how it's the skin, this dried stuff on my glue? You don't want that, keep that. There, you gotta clean it out. Because the glue won't come on your stuff if you have it. Yes. Ah, come on. Okay. Anyway, now I have wet glue to work. No wonder I was having trouble with my glue. When you're starting to have a lot of trouble with your glue, think about it getting too thick or that skin drying up over the top of it. All right, so this is alternated a little lower. All right, another one. She says 5 to 8 leaves on every stem. I'm going to do one more here and then. There. Okay. You can see the glue, but it will dry clear and then you won't see it. And as I said, if it doesn't dry clear, then we. All right, so I have 5 on this stem so far. I'm going to switch to another stem. Where's that other stem I was going to switch to? Oh, here it is. This is a stem that I did last night and it's dry. So what I want to show you, once it's dry, good and dry, and you can see how they go every other side. And they're kind of like that. And you can kind of push them up a little bit too, so they kind of go like that. Now, you're going to take, if you want them variegated, as they are in her picture, with that little white on the tip, I use these little brushes. I don't know if you have them. They have a little furry end. I don't know if they're a dental thing or what they are. Some dealers carry them and you can look on Amazon. I just don't know what you look for. Does anybody know what they're called? But they're really handy. They're really handy for little areas of things. You can use a tiny brush too, but I'm going to use this, and I get it wet just because I always get brushes wet before I use them. And here I have some white paint. So I dip it in the white paint. Oop, that has a skin on it too, because I set it up earlier. Dip it in the white paint, dab it off. You don't want too much on there. And then you just kind of brush it over the edges of the leaves, on the edges here and there. And you can occasionally put a stripe down the middle. You don't want too much white, or it's not, but this is kind of how hers look. Oh, can you see that? It almost looks like snow on the edges of the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do it with a real tiny paintbrush, or if you have something like this, or a toothpick or something, just kind of brush that white on there and it gives it more that variegated look that some ivy has. You can leave it all green too, but it does add something in the arrangement because there's so many greens and so much green. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of that white in there. Okay, so it almost looks like it has snow on it. That is your stem. That is your English ivy stem. It's really fairly easy. So I'm going to stop the share. Does anybody have questions on this?
Barbara,
Yeah.
what size of the Kemper